When it comes to Black Canadian history, what do you know? Of course, you might have recently heard of Viola Desmond, right? The incredible Black woman who refused to get up from her seat in the whites-only section in a theater in Nova Scotia. But is that the extent of your knowledge? Here's another thing to consider. When it comes to Black History Month and the things that you might have learned in elementary school, what do you remember, if anything at all? Maybe you remember lessons on Martin Luther King Jr. or Rosa Parks. The point being that everything was heavily based on African American history. Little to no attention was owed to global Black history. Although knowing African American history is very important for us to know, the fact that it is the only thing we get to hear highlights the great erasure of Black Canadians in our history. And we're trying to flip that with 28 moments of Black Canadian history, Leap Year Edition. For this upcoming February, for the 29 days, we will be releasing a video of a Black youth speaking about their experience moving through the society as a Black human, their passions, the things they wish to change, essentially whatever they'd like to speak about. And in the same video, the same individual will go into a history lesson about a historical figure, a historical moment in Black Canadian history. What we're doing here is we're establishing a link between the past and the present so that we have a better understanding of our collective successes and challenges. Join us in closing this knowledge gap. Follow us at Unilearnal on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook.
Hi, my name is Akil Johnson.
My name is Fitch.
My name is Shalomar Woods.
Jesse Abuaje.
David.
Ilamat. Faith. Sharifa.
Dream.
Celeste.
My name is Skylar.
My name is Kerbins Blazette.
My name is Perline.
My name is Lorna Finis.
My name is Lydia.
My name is Anita.
And this is 28 Moments.
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 28 moments of Black
Canadian history. Leap Year Edition.
Leap Year Edition.
Leap Year Edition.
So my name is Layla, and my experience with Canada as a Black woman is one of erasure. I think that most of my experience, whether it be micro, macro, whether it be through institutions, whether it be on interpersonal level, has been one of erasure. I think a lot of the time, as Black people in Canada, we are forced to question whether or not our experiences of racism are valid, because we aren't the United States, or we aren't the past, or you don't see this, or you don't feel that. I think that I've heard it best described as a very kind and polite way of racism. And I think that's why I've always really appreciated being part of such large activist communities that are very pressed about making sure that Canada as a country, as a population, remembers the fact that Black folks are here, that Black folks are a part of their history, and that Black folks built what we have now, right? And so when I am in spaces and when I am able to assert myself, it almost forces me to forget, or forces me to reassert my existence. Because when your experience is mostly one of erasure, at some point you have to ask yourself, am I really here? And I think that that's what Canada really does in trying to make you melt back into the multicultural idea of us, one big community built of multiple colors and multiple backgrounds. And so I remember when we were at the Pride rally a few years back, and everyone was so upset that Black Lives Matter was stopping the parade. And I think that, right, that's what happens with erasure. You forget that Marsha P. Johnson, a Black trans woman, was the one who started this, and you're able to erase and rewrite that history. And when we stopped and people were so upset, it was like, we built this and people are upset that we're taking up space, but we're taking up space not to ask for much. We're taking up space for the right to exist, the right to be funded in a way that represents the fact that, for example, Blockorama is one of the biggest stages of Prides and brings in the biggest crowd. And so when I'm there and I'm almost having to question myself again, I'm like, am I supposed to be here? Am I allowed to be here? are they more valid than I am, I have to remember the fact that my experience has been one of erasure, and that is not what my experience was meant to be in a country that is based off of colonization, a country that is based off of the death of multiple people who should have been here. So my experience is one of rebuilding not only myself as a Black woman in Canada that has a right to exist, but building communities and spaces that also feel that. I am lucky to be a part of that community, but even today, a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people are still having to be forced to question whether or not they have a right to be here and a right to take up space. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that in some near future, we can be a people that is able to exist free. But for now, we rebuild. So today I will be talking about Kerry Best and the Roseland Theatre. The Roseland Theatre is the infamous theatre where Viola Desmond was forcibly removed from the whites-only section. But did you know that 5 years prior, Kerry Best lived the exact same experience in the exact same spot? In 1941, Kerry Best had learned that a few young Black teens had been forcibly removed from the whites-only section of the theatre. Being outraged, Kerry Best decided to bring it up to the theatre's manager. Especially what she wanted to talk about was the policy that Blacks were only allowed to be on the balconies and that the main floor was reserved to whites only. So Kerry Best decided to challenge the policy directly. Her and her son went to the theater and decided to sit right in the whites only section. She refused to leave, and which led to the manager being called and then the police. Her and her son were roughly hoisted from their seats, and both were charged and fined. So in response, she filed a civil lawsuit that noted racial discrimination. However, the proprietor's right to exclude anyone based off of race won, and the judge completely ignored the fact of racism. Knowing about the history of people like Kerry Best and Viola Desmond allows us to understand that Canadians here, Black Canadians here, have a history, and that especially our legal past and the ways in which the legal system has disadvantaged us and has allowed racial discrimination to continue is an important part of the experience of people of African descent in Canada. For more information, click the links in the description.
So my name is Jolani. I'm 27 years old. I live in Ottawa. I am the CEO and owner of Small World Live. So we're a production company that brings in artists and produce concerts here in Ottawa. So some of the names that we've brought include Jazz Cartier, Roy Woods, Kerry. So what we're really trying to do next is build on those smaller concerts and start doing some bigger ones in Ottawa. A little bit about me. My dad is from Trinidad and Tobago, and my mom is white from Ottawa, Canada. I grew up in Kemptville, which is about an hour away outside of Ottawa. Growing up in Kemptville, it's a predominantly white town, so I wasn't really exposed to a lot of Black culture or even diversity in general until I moved to Ottawa for school. Living in Ottawa really taught me and exposed the diversity that Ottawa has to offer from all the different cultures and by people sharing their experiences and stories, I was able to learn more about their culture and their backgrounds. Yeah, I'd just like to shout out the people that are a part of this project. I feel like it's super important for younger people to engage in such an initiative as important as Black History Month. Yeah, I'd really like to shout out the people that are involved, Fitch, and everybody else behind the scenes as well. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about the Canadian history of hip-hop. So thanks to figures such as Kanon, Cardi Official, Tory Lanez, and of course Drake, the rap scene in Canada has exploded, increasing in popularity within our own borders and worldwide. But did you know that rap in Canada emerged at around the same time that it did in the US? In the 1970s, Black people, most of whom are West Indian background, were the ones who forefronted this movement, introducing the subculture genre to the wider Canadian population. However, major Canadian recording companies had no interest in music created by Black people, let alone rap. It was not until the release of Maestro Fresh West's 1989 single, Let Your Backbone Slide, that rap in Canada really began to ascend in popularity. Receiving continuous plays on Much Music, the song went on to become the first rap single certified gold in Canada, and Maestro Fresh West was crowned the godfather of Canadian hip-hop. Through his music, Maestro Fresh West was born in Toronto in 1968, revolutionized the rap scene, forcing major recording labels to pay attention and promoting the adoption of the style among non-Black folks. Rap wasn't only a Toronto thing, it was also present in Quebec with groups such as Zion, which emerged in the 1990s. If you'd like to hear the popular 1989 single, Let Your Backbone Slide, and would like to read more on the history of rap in Canada, click on the links in the description.
This is a throwdown, a showdown. Hell no, I can't slow down. It's gonna go.
First offense.
All the mix. Okay, party people in the house.
May I have your attention, please?
In a moment, the beat will be played in many parts.